Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share with you a story about love unraveling in quiet betrayal, the painful weight of emotional boundaries crossed, and the silence that speaks louder than lies. It's a story of a woman who thought she had it all until she saw what he was hiding. Let's dive right into it. I never imagined my life would look like this just 2 months before my wedding. Everything had seemed so perfect. Like the ending of one of those rom-coms you watch while curled up on the couch with ice cream. You meet someone, you fall in love, and eventually, you get to the part where you promise forever. That's what I thought I had with Lucas. And maybe, a part of me still wants to believe it. We met at a book cafe. Cliché, I know. I was reaching for the last copy of The Night Circus, and so was he. We both laughed, awkwardly offered it to each other, and ended up sitting at the same table to read it together. From that moment on, Lucas felt like someone written just for me. Smart, calm, patient, with this way of making me feel like I was the only one in the room. Fast forward 3 years and we were engaged. Ring and all. Our friends said we were the perfect couple. And maybe we were, until I found the messages. It started a few weeks ago. Innocently enough, Lucas had left his phone on the kitchen counter while taking a shower. I wasn't snooping, honestly. A message popped up and the name on the screen just hit me. Natalie. His ex, not just any ex. The kind you remember because they were together for 4 years. The kind that shows up in stories with soft laughter and bittersweet endings. The one he said ended maturely, whatever that means. He'd always said they were still friendly, that it was harmless, that I had nothing to worry about. And I believed him, because that's what trust looks like, right? But when I opened that message, yes, I opened it. I won't pretend I didn't. My heart dropped into my stomach. Still thinking about that night. You always know how to make me laugh. Wish we could rewind sometimes. I stared at it. I read it 3 times. 4, maybe. My hands were trembling. I remember standing there, frozen, while the sound of the shower ran like a distant ocean. Then I scrolled up. Hundreds of messages, daily chats, inside jokes, late night. How are you really doing? Messages, selfies, of the 2 of them, at a cafe I'd never been to. A candid photo of Lucas laughing, looking at her, his eyes sparkling in a way I hadn't seen lately. The timestamp said 2 weeks ago. He never told me he met her recently. Never. I didn't confront him right away. That night, I lay beside him in bed, pretending to sleep while the question screamed in my head. How long had this been going on? Was I just a backup plan? Was I some safety net while he figured out whether he still wanted her? The next morning, I made coffee like usual, pretending everything was fine. My smile felt like paper. And then, casually, I asked, "Have you talked to Natalie recently?" Lucas didn't flinch. Yeah, here and there. Why? Like, texted. He nodded. Sure, she's going through some stuff. And we check in once in a while. You know that. But did you see her? In person. He hesitated, just a second. But it was enough. Well, we ran into each other a couple weeks ago, grabbed coffee. It wasn't a big deal. A tight knot formed in my chest. I wanted to scream, to cry, to ask him why he hadn't mentioned it. But instead, I nodded, as if I understood. I'm not proud of that moment. I just didn't want to fall apart. Not yet. Later that night, I sat on our apartment balcony, knees to my chest, wondering how things had gotten so messy so fast. I wasn't the jealous type, or at least, I didn't used to be, but this didn't feel like jealousy. It felt like betrayal. Because here's the thing, it's not just that he was talking to his ex, it's that he was hiding it. And when someone hides something, it's rarely innocent. For the next few days, I tried to act like everything was normal. I went to dress fittings, tasted wedding cakes, checked guest lists, doing all the things a bride-to-be should be excited about. But in my chest, there was this constant pressure, like someone had their hands around my ribs and was slowly squeezing. The truth was always there, scratching at the back of my mind. Lucas was texting his ex, frequently, intimately, and lying about it. It wasn't just a message here or there. I went back to that chat again, when he wasn't around. I shouldn't have. I know. But curiosity mixed with pain makes you do desperate things. I needed to know the truth. The messages painted a picture of two people who hadn't let go. Natalie, you always knew what to say when I was at my worst. Lucas, that's because I still know you better than anyone. Natalie, part of me still wonders, what if we didn't give up so soon? Lucas, I've thought about that too. Sometimes, that word stuck to my skin like tar. He wasn't just being a nice guy checking in on an old friend. He was entertaining the idea, playing with the what-ifs, and all while planning a life with me. I couldn't pretend anymore. So one evening, I told him we needed to talk. He looked concerned, maybe even nervous, as he sat across from me on the couch. I'd never seen him look that way before. The room was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. And my heart. I saw the messages. I said, no games, no build-up, just truth. Lucas went pale. I didn't go looking for them. I added quickly, they popped up while you were showering. I couldn't look away. He was silent for a few seconds, his jaw tightening. Then he said, you went through my phone. I scoffed. That's what you're leading with. His eyes flickered, like he was deciding whether to be defensive or honest. Eventually, he sighed. Okay, yeah, I've been talking to Natalie, but it's not what you think. Then tell me, I whispered. What is it? She's going through a rough time. Her mom's sick. She's overwhelmed. And she reached out. I didn't want to be cruel. Lucas, you weren't just being nice. You were reminiscing, flirting. You met up with her and didn't tell me. You said things like you've thought about what ifs. What am I supposed to feel about that? He ran his hands through his hair, then leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I didn't mean for it to be anything. It just spiraled. I didn't think it would hurt you because I didn't think it mattered. She's part of my past. Then why are you still holding on to her like she's your future? Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I love you, Emma, he finally said, voice low. I chose you, but did you stop choosing her? That question hung in the air, raw and sharp. He didn't answer. That night, I packed a bag and went to stay at my sister's. I told him I needed space. He didn't try to stop me, and maybe that was the answer I needed. My sister Lily didn't ask too many questions when I showed up at her apartment with a duffel bag and eyes that screamed exhaustion. She just opened the door wider, handed me a glass of wine, and said, stay as long as you need. I collapsed on her couch and didn't say much that first night, just cried quietly, trying not to let it turn into sobs. I didn't want to admit it out loud, that my perfect wedding might be built on a lie, that the man I loved was possibly still in love with someone else. The next morning, Lucas texted me, Lucas, I miss you. I'm sorry. I stared at the message. No explanation. No real accountability. Just 3 simple words meant to smooth over something deeply broken. I didn't reply. Days passed. Then a week. During that time, I tried to focus on work, breathing, eating something other than granola bars and takeout. I even went to one of our wedding vendor meetings alone, pretending Lucas was tied up with work. I didn't want to cancel. Not yet. I still didn't know what the hell I was going to do. Then one night, Lily came home holding her phone, looking like she'd just witnessed a train wreck. You're not going to like this, she said, but I need to show you something. I took her phone. Natalie had posted a photo on Instagram. Her and Lucas, again, at a bookstore, the same bookstore where Lucas and I met. He was laughing in the photo, his hand casually resting on her back. The caption read, some places feel like coming home, and the comments, full of hearts, inside jokes, mutual friends saying, you two always had the best chemistry. One even said, still rooting for you guys. I felt physically sick, like someone had pulled the rug out from under my world and I was still mid-fall. I called him. He picked up on the second ring. Emma. What the hell? Lucas. There was silence. Then a hesitant, you saw the post? I did. At our bookstore. Are you trying to humiliate me? It wasn't like that. Oh. Then what was it like? Lucas. Explain it to me. Because I'm out here trying to figure out if I still have a fiancé, or if you've already gone back to your ex and just forgot to mention it. It was a coincidence. he insisted. I didn't know she'd post that. We met up to talk. You said you wanted space too. So you used that space to go on a date with your ex. It wasn't a date. You held her. You smiled like that. You let her post it. That wasn't just coffee. Lucas. His voice was quiet. I didn't think you'd see it. And there it was. He didn't think I'd see it. Not that it wasn't wrong. Not that it didn't mean something. Just that he didn't expect to get caught. I hung up. That night, I cried harder than I had since my mom passed away. That deep, gut-wrenching cry that feels like it's tearing something out of you. Not just pain, but loss. The loss of a future I thought was already written. The loss of trust I'd spent years building. The loss of a version of Lucas I no longer believed was real. Lily sat beside me, rubbing my back silently, letting me break, and in the silence that followed, one thought echoed in my mind. If he truly loved me, would I even be here? Crying on this couch. The days that followed felt like walking through a fog. I existed, but I wasn't present. My phone buzzed constantly, texts from Lucas, voicemails, even an email or two, all saying the same thing in different words. I'm sorry. It didn't mean anything. I love you. Please come home. But love isn't just words, is it? It's not about who says I miss you louder. It's not about sending roses or writing paragraphs begging for forgiveness. Love is action. It's choice. It's presence when it matters. And when it mattered most, Lucas chose to be somewhere else, with her, one afternoon. While sitting in Lily's kitchen with a half-eaten slice of toast and cold tea, I realized something simple but powerful. I was still here. I was still breathing, still waking up, still standing. Even with a shattered heart, I was still me. That realization didn't fix everything, but it gave me clarity. I couldn't keep waiting for Lucas to make me feel okay. That wasn't his job anymore. It was mine. That weekend, I went back to the apartment. Not to stay, but to talk. To finish this, Lucas opened the door like he was holding his breath. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept. Emma, I'm not here to fight, I said. I just need to say what I need to say. He nodded and stepped aside. The apartment smelled like my perfume, like the lavender candle I used to light every evening. Everything was the same, and completely different. We sat in silence for a moment before I began. You hurt me, Lucas, deeply. And what hurts more is that I was willing to believe it was nothing, until you made me feel like a fool for trusting you. I didn't mean to. I know. I interrupted. That's the thing. You didn't mean to. But you did. I took a breath. I don't think you love her. Not the way you love me. But I think you're still emotionally tethered to her. And that's not something I can compete with. I shouldn't have to. He looked down. I was confused. I didn't realize how much I missed that part of my life until she showed up again. I blinked. And what part is that? The part where nothing was complicated, where I didn't have to be ready. With you, things got real. Big decisions. Responsibility. And I got scared. It was honest. And maybe that was the saddest part of all. I stood up. I don't hate you. I just can't marry someone who runs when it gets hard. His eyes filled with tears. Please don't do this. I smiled sadly. Lucas, I already did. I left the ring on the coffee table. As I closed the door behind me, I felt something I hadn't in weeks. Relief. The first morning after I ended things with Lucas felt surreal. I woke up in Lily's guest room to soft sunlight pouring in through the blinds. And for a brief second, I forgot everything. For that tiny sliver of time, I wasn't a runaway bride, a heartbroken woman, or someone who had to explain to everyone why there wouldn't be a wedding anymore. I was just a girl in a bed, blinking at the morning light. Then reality settled back in, like a wave crashing down. But this time, it didn't drown me. That day, I canceled the wedding venue. Then, the caterer. Then the photographer. Each phone call felt like closing another chapter of a book I didn't finish reading. But I also felt something else. A strange sense of control returning. It hurt, of course. God, it hurt. But I was making choices now. Not reacting. Not waiting. Choosing. I let myself cry when I needed to. I also let myself laugh. When Lily made ridiculous pancake faces or when we watched bad reality TV until midnight, I journaled a lot. pages filled with anger, confusion, longing, and slowly, a new tone began to appear between the messy ink lines. Clarity. I wrote things like, he didn't cheat, but he didn't choose me either. Maybe closure isn't something he gives me. Maybe it's something I take. Love shouldn't feel like I'm begging to be seen. And perhaps most healing of all, I went back to the bookstore. Alone. It took me 3 tries to walk in. The first time, I parked outside and stared at the windows, my heart pounding like I was about to face a ghost. The second time, I made it to the door, then chickened out when I saw a couple laughing over a shared novel. But the third time, I walked in. The smell of old paper and cinnamon coffee hit me instantly. It felt like breathing again, like returning to a version of myself that existed before things got messy. I wandered the aisles for a while, fingers grazing spines of books I didn't plan to buy. And then I saw it, The Night Circus. The book we'd both reached for that very first day. I picked it up, held it, and smiled. Not a sad smile, a real one. Because this time, I wasn't remembering a love story. I was reclaiming my story. It's been 6 months since I walked away from Lucas. Sometimes, when I tell people I called off my wedding that close to the date, they look at me with pity. Some ask what really happened. Others tilt their heads and say, "But couldn't you have worked it out?" And for a while, those questions haunted me. I asked myself the same things every night. Could I have forgiven him? Should I have waited longer? Did I walk away too soon? But healing doesn't come from asking what if. It comes from accepting what was. Lucas wasn't a monster. He didn't hit me. He didn't scream. He didn't cheat, at least, not physically. But he did betray something quieter, something more sacred. He betrayed safety, emotional trust, the space where love is supposed to live. And that's not something I could build a life on. So no, I didn't walk away too soon. I walked away right on time. Now, I live in a little 1-bedroom apartment a few blocks from the bookstore. I still go there every Sunday, and I still pick up The Night Circus sometimes, just to hold it. I never did finish it, but maybe one day I will. When it feels like the right moment, I've started seeing someone new, too, slowly, carefully. His name is Julian, and he has kind eyes and terrible taste in socks. We met at a painting class I took on a whim, and he offered to clean my brushes after I accidentally dipped mine in coffee. We haven't said the big words yet. No, I love you. No, forever. But that's okay, because now I understand that love isn't a race. It's not a timeline, and it's not a reward for being patient or perfect. Love is a choice you make every day, and the first person you have to choose is yourself. So if you're listening to this, and your heart is heavy, if you're wondering whether your pain is enough to walk away, or if you're just overreacting, let me tell you something I wish someone had told me. Your peace matters more than their potential. Read that again. Your peace matters more than their potential. I didn't get the wedding. I didn't get the dress, the vows, the I do, but I got something else. I got myself back. And honestly, that's the best happy ending I could have asked for. Thanks for tuning in to Reddit Stories. New tales drop daily drama, love, or ghostly glories. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss the next story we tell. Got thoughts to share? Drop them below. We read them all just so you know.